Good evening. Good evening, everybody. Assalamu alaikum. Peace be with you. Belated Eid Mubarak. We are so honored with your presence here, each and every one of you. I would like to start very quickly and acknowledge people without whom we would not be here. So first of all, I would like to acknowledge Aimee from LuminArte Gallery, the owner. Please, thank you so much. And she is our partner. She helps us at every stage of the gallery event. Thank you so much. Really appreciate you. I would also like to acknowledge our team members. Honestly, if they are not here, you will not see this caliber of work. So I would like to take their names. Please acknowledge. I will go with Shafaq Ahmed, our art gallery director. Samia Khan, assistant art gallery director. Almas Maskarwala, she's outreach director. Samra Ali, she makes sure everybody is fed. So events director. And Reshma Ahmed, she is our volunteer coordinator, and Myra Ali. So these people have worked tirelessly throughout the year to bring this wonderful program to you, the Art Gallery. And last of all, we have our sponsors, and we would not be here without them. I would like to acknowledge and thank Honea Institute of Rice University for their sponsorship, Aramco, and a lot of other businesses and private foundations also. Without them, we would not be here. And I would like to invite our founder, our visionary of Texas Muslim Women's Foundation. She gels us together, not just IARS, not just TMWR, she gels our community together. She is a visionary, and it's my honor to invite her and work with her. She really is an amazing, amazing person. Please.
Warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Peace be with you, and God's blessings and God's mercy. I, as you can tell, am blessed by being only the speaker for a group of an amazing, visionary, resourceful, dedicated, persistent women who want to make a difference in this world, who, all of them, participated in the establishment of the Texas Muslim Women Foundation. I just happened to be lucky and always grateful to our merciful, all-knowing Creator for making my path cross with theirs. So thank you, Mona. I don't deserve any of what you said, but I am very grateful. I just pray that I rise to this kind of confidence and this kind of trust. The Texas Muslim Women Foundation was formed in 2005 by a group of women who came from all walks of life, from all countries, and came together, like I said, to empower, promote, support women and their families through education, outreach, philanthropy, and social services. We came in the aftermath of September 11. We got together in 2005 and established this nonprofit organization and took it upon ourselves to address the needs that women and girls and their families need in this country as Muslim women. And alhamdulillah, after 10 years, we have been able to solidify or establish a program that was very, very important to those women in 2005, which is the taking care of victims of domestic violence. So our social service program called Peace in the Home now provides a 24-hour shelter, 24-hour hotline, transitional housing, and an outreach office where we provide them with everything they need: case management, counseling, legal representation. Now that we have solidified that program and we are thankful to our supporters, we have also to deal with the reigning atmosphere of misunderstanding and lack of knowledge about what Islam and Muslims are, what is involved with those group of people who constitute 1.5 billion people all over the world and come with all colors, with all races, with all languages, and with all levels of education, economics, everything. And I'm sure that here, especially in Texas, you are aware of all what we are having to deal with the media. So what better to present who we are and what we are through, other than through the universal language of art. I think that today, with everybody who is here, with lay people like myself, with artists who are here, with our wonderful sponsors, with our wonderful guests, we are very thankful for you for coming to join us. I hope that this start of dialogue and start of communication and start of heart-to-heart talk and discussion, we will be able to allay some of the misconceptions and some of the fears and some of the alienation that divides all us human beings from one another. So, not wanting to take any more of your time, we are privileged and honored to have you. I know Mona thanked the team that established IARS, but I want to salute them. This is our 4th year. They have done a wonderful job, and all IARS team are volunteers, every single one of them. They established the art gallery under the leadership of Shafak, the juried art exhibit. This is our 3rd year, and as you can see, beautiful pieces. They established the Islamic Art Revival Series experience that has been taking place at the Eisman Center, and that has presented to you the dances, the costumes, the presentations about Islamic art, and they have presented tremendous and wonderful workshop. This year we started with sacred geometry, and that's where our collaboration with Houston. So we are just starting. I hope you will get to know a little bit more and to continue to support Islamic Art Revival Series and the wonderful ladies that made it happen. Thank you for your attention.
Good evening, everyone. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to the 4th annual Juried International Exhibition of Contemporary Islamic Art. And it is the first contemporary art exhibition of its kind, not only in Texas, but also in the US. I would like to also thank Jamie Labar, who's the owner and director of this beautiful art gallery, for her collaboration with utmost professionalism and friendship. They are the best partners we could ask for. I would also like to acknowledge our team as well. I won't take everybody's name because Mona and Hind already acknowledged everyone. But I would like to acknowledge Dr. Nada Shabut, who's here, and she's on our advisory board and one of our biggest supporters, and she was our first juror for our exhibition. So she's here, and I would also like to thank Tasneem bin Halim, who was one of the founders of Islamic Art Revival Series. She's not here, she could not be here today because of her mom's health, but she's our visionary, and I thank her. Now I'm going to share our juror, Salma Tukan, who's the curator of Jameel Art Prize and contemporary art from the Middle East at the Victoria and Albert Museum in London. And she has wanted to share her thoughts with all of you. So in the words of Salma Tukan, I am honored to have been invited as the juror for the 4th Annual Juried International Exhibition of Contemporary Islamic Art. Much like the previous editions, the selection of works that make up this exhibition aim to explore the cultural dialogue between Islamic art tradition and contemporary practice, and in doing so hopes to shed a wider understanding of Islam altogether. The principles of Islam call for living a peaceful coexistence and harmony. Like Islam itself, which embraces everyone, this initiative mirrors this attitude in allowing creative entries from across the world. Its intention is to connect and not to separate, inviting artists around the world to remember and explore the roots of Islamic traditions and role they have played in forming the world we live in today. Art as such is a non-confrontational, often thought-provoking way to engage people and to start a dialogue. Operating at a time where a misrepresentation and inaccurate distortion of Islam seems to be increasingly painted, it is even more vital and urgent for contemporary interpretations of Islamic art to reinforce that it is a peaceful, open, and tolerant culture altogether. The works in this exhibition respond to the rich range of art, design ideas, and have been current in the Islamic world over the last millennium or so, echoing ideas from the past, but in a way that is relevant for now. Within this selection are works that utilize Arabic calligraphic script, one of the most important art forms in the Islamic tradition, as well as reimagined icons and traditions expressed through textiles, painting, ceramics, sculpture, photography, and beyond. The exhibition demonstrates that the contemporary artistic practices around the world continue to pay virtue to Islam's rich heritage without being bound to geographic, cultural, political, or even religious categorizations. As a result, this exhibition allows for a multi-layered dialogue between artists and other members of society by focusing on artistic skills, varied techniques, and creative concepts that contribute to new ways of thinking about the meaning of Islamic culture today. I would like to give her a big round of applause, which is not here. Now it is my honor to introduce Dr. Aimee Froom, the curator for the Arts of Islamic World at the Museum of Fine Arts, Houston, as our esteemed guest speaker. Dr. Froom has published and lectured widely on the topic of Islamic art, in particular, decorative arts of the Islamic world. He has acted as a consultant to leading museums, including the British Museum in London and the National Museum in Paris and Aga Museum in Toronto. She is the author of Persian ceramics from the Collections of Asian Art Museum of San Francisco in 2008, and wrote the catalog entries for Spirit and Light, Masterpieces of Islamic Art from the Aga Museum collection in 2007. She has contributed to major publications including the Los Angeles County Museum of Art exhibition catalog, Gifts of the Sultan, The Arts of Giving at the Islamic Courts in 2011, God is Beautiful and Loves Beauty, The Object in Islamic Art and Culture in 2013, and History of Design, Decorative Arts and Material Culture from 1400 to 2000 in 2013. As a Kevorkian Associate Curator of Islamic Art at the Brooklyn Museum from 2001 to 2005, Dr. Froom directed the first comprehensive survey of museum's collection of 150 Islamic carpets and spearheaded the exhibition, research, care, and growth of the Brooklyn Museum's encyclopedic collection of Islamic art. She has served as a fellow in the Islamic Art Department at the Metropolitan Museum of Art, New York. He is also a member of the College Art Association, Historians of Islamic Art Association, International Center for Medieval Art, and Medieval Academy of America. This evening, the topic of discussion is Connecting Cultures, Islamic Art Across Space and Time. Please give a big round of applause.
and thank you very much for this warm, very, very warm and generous welcome and kind invitation. I'm thrilled to be here. I've lived in Texas now for 1 year, and this is my first trip to Dallas, so it's long overdue, and this is a wonderful occasion to be here. So I would like to thank our sponsors this evening. Everyone has been thanked very properly, much better than I could probably do it, but especially Dusha Bakabad, who's been my first point of contact. I'm just so impressed by your work at this fourth annual International Jury Exhibition of Contemporary Islamic Art. To our hosts as well at LuminArte, is it too high? Can everybody hear me? Great. This prestigious gallery and home of nationally and internationally known artists within the celebrated Dallas Design District. Tasneem, unfortunately, who could not be here. All of the Islamic Arts Revival Series team, and especially the Texas Muslim Women's Association. Thank you very much. This is truly a celebration of Islamic art and its universal appeal, universal cross-cultural appeal. Art is the universal language. We are passionate about Islamic art as a translator and connector across generations and cultures, from heart to heart through time. You probably recognize the statement. It's prominently featured on the IARS website. I couldn't agree more. It's about building connections and bridges of cultural understanding through the arts. This is what I'm trying to do as well in Houston. So we're in Houston here. I hope you can see all right. We're at the Beck building and then the back side of our original building in Houston at the museum. So at the Museum of Fine Arts Houston, we have 4 galleries and over 300 works of traditional arts of the Islamic world. I'm very happy to say I installed all of these galleries last January 2015. We feature art from the 8th century to the 21st century on view. We're building our permanent collection. These are 2 of our permanent galleries, on the left and on the right. We're, in addition to having a rather small but growing permanent collection that's augmented by loans from local collectors, we're also very fortunate that we have a long-term agreement with the Al-Sabah collection of Kuwait, 30,000 objects strong. It's probably one of the most important private collections of Islamic art in the world. I know that you have the Cure collection. I'm very looking forward to seeing the Cure collection at the Dallas Museum of Art tomorrow. If you haven't been there very recently, they just reinstalled a larger exhibition from the Cure collection. Next slide, please. These are some examples of our works. Next slide. Some more. You can continue. So this is the entrance to our Al-Sabah exhibition that has 240 works of art on view from the 8th to the 19th century, from Spain to India, Central Asia to Northern Africa. Next. We have a wonderful Ottoman carpet and mosque lamp on view. Next. And next. That's our gallery that has Mughal treasures from the 17th and 18th century, many jeweled objects on view. The next slide, please. All right. I just wanted to, this is almost at the end of my pitch for coming to Houston, and I'd be happy to give anyone and everybody here a tour. One section that I'm really excited about in our permanent gallery is collections and conversation. And along the lines of our exhibition here, this is where I want us to go beyond boundaries and to connect cultures together. So I'm putting different collections together. For example, this is a 17th century Italian still life that I have located in my gallery after our 14th century Quran. That's in the front part of the gallery where we discuss the art of the word. This is collections and conversation, and I want people to walk in and say, why is there a European painting there? In this painting, it might be a little hard to see. Let's look at the next slide, please. Here we go. I have installed near it an Ottoman lute, that's on the left, and it's very hard to see here, unfortunately, but it's a Spanish Nasrid box from the late 14th, early 15th century. And in the painting, there is actually a Spanish guitar, a 17th century Spanish guitar that has the same strapwork star pattern, the 8-pointed star pattern that you see repeated on the earlier box that was done under the Nasrid. So this is a motif that was very, very popular, seen in the Alhambra, on a lot of Spanish decorative arts by the last Islamic dynasty in Spain that stayed. It stayed in Spain through the 17th century and beyond as a very popular foundation motif. And with the lute or oud, there are several of them that are kind of upside down in the painting. I want to make the point that this is an instrument that was not, it wasn't created by Arab musicians, but it was literally walked into Europe by Arab musicians. It was the Arab contribution, and it stayed then in Europe. And so I'm making this connection as well, that we have a shared musical heritage as well as an artistic heritage. So I'm looking forward to expanding this section, and I invite you all to visit Houston to see what we do in the future. So this is exactly what the artists here and their works embody for me. They go beyond boundaries. Can we have the next slide, please? Thank you. Neither the artists nor their works can be neatly compartmentalized into categories. Many artists live and work far from their birthplace. They've traveled over time and space around the world, many different experiences. Their works transcend the boundaries of geographical space and time, really. And I think their works are far greater than the sum total of the myriad of influences and experiences that they've had in their lives thus far. And I think we're all the richer for that, to be able to experience their art. So I think the conversation, this Collections in Conversation, Art in Conversation, continues here in Dallas with this magnificent exhibition. I'd like to look closer tonight at just a few selected works, and this was by no means what caught my eye from the slides, and I don't want to monopolize too much of your time because I think we should be here tonight with the lights up, experiencing the works as they're so beautifully installed by Shabak and her team. So up on the screen, I've got Steve Nefa's Saida 30, Venetian Blue, and this is installed in the beginning part of the gallery as you enter. He characterizes his work as an exploration of the kinship between modern Western abstraction and centuries-old Arab and Islamic geometric design. You can see that instantly. He effectively translates the underlying concepts and forms of Islamic geometric design into contemporary sculptures and paintings. So it's almost a smooth, machine-like finish to his work here. It recalls, for me, John McCracken or Donald Judd. While the real depth, if you go up to the work, you can see there is a real depth. It's a 3-inch depth, actually. It's a nod of ready admiration to Frank Stella's maximism in a combination there. Nefa himself studied 19th and 20th century Western European and American art history at Princeton and Harvard, and you might also know that he wrote a fabulous biography of the American painter Jackson Pollock, An American Saga with Gregory White Smith, that won the Pulitzer Prize. And then he also has a recent work, Van Gogh, The Life, which has been praised as a definitive work and named Book of the Year. He has a very interesting background. He's Arab-American, descendant of U.S. diplomats, grew up in the U.S., throughout the Middle East, as many people have here, and he's also lived in Pakistan and Nigeria. As my colleague and scholar Heather Ecker notes, the patterns that he proposes are linked with much earlier ideas about art. Each work really stands alone, but also suggests the singular units of an infinite repetition. an idea that we see in various artistic traditions, most notably those developed all over Muslim lands 1,000 years ago and more. So these abstract prisms in each pattern are really the result of harmonious calculations, but they also speak a language. And his language evokes memories of place, of material and scale. This is a childhood that was spent in the Middle East, especially in Jordan and Lebanon. Saida is Saigon, a seaside port and the third largest city in Lebanon. Many conquerors have been through the city throughout history, from the Assyrians to Romans, Arabs, and Ottomans. The next slide, please. So this is Amber Kokar's brilliant watercolor, and it's installed right behind the buffet. So as you're enjoying the buffet, you can enjoy her decagram cobalt. It also evokes centuries-old patterns in a different way. They're a bit, for me, when I saw this, I instantly thought of a slide that I teach with when I teach. The next one, please. Very different material, but this is an Ottoman Turkish box, probably from the late 16th century, that has tortoiseshell and mother of pearl. Can we go back one slide? Thank you. And Amber said she was inspired by great Ottoman, Safavid, and Mughal Empire art. In their original forms, these would have been absorbed and merged really into complex, much larger, almost infinite patterns. I just showed you a very small detail of that box, but you can also imagine this on an architectural surface. Amber, I think, on the other hand, really isolates the motifs and removes them from their decorative context. She goes beyond revival with these almost archetypal and beautiful motifs to create something that's very unique and a personal narrative. Next one, please. Keep going. Aimee Cheng. I found her work fascinating, her conversations continuing with the past. She begins with pattern and repetition, and she, as you can see, she's using this circle within a square motif to make these centralized, almost iconic images. They're not specifically devotional, and she didn't start out that way, but I think they do speak to the sacred, and she's mentioned that as well as being one with the universe. She creates kind of worlds within worlds that circle out to slow, more contemplative truths. And I find her works very sumptuous and very tactile. And in my conversation with Salma Tukhan, the juror for the show, she noted that as well, that there is a trend in a lot of the works here towards much more, they're very tactile. You want to reach out and touch them, and the use of textiles as well, which we see here, I think, contributes to that. Her work reminds me of the great conversations I had last week in Houston with Richard, with Latifa, and Adam. We were so fortunate to have them come to Houston and do their workshops at Rice, which were oversubscribed, so now we know for the future to have more space available, this sacred geometry. As Richard says, it's essential to acquire a critical, analytical understanding of designs and a sensitivity to this contemplative dimension of the work. And I think that it's achieved here in many of the works in the exhibition. The next slide, please. So this work is actually hanging right underneath and behind the screen. You'll be able to come and see it by Anna Chupa, a Cactus, 2013. She takes analytical understanding of geometrical designs to a new level. She starts with botanical photographs, and it's hard to see here, but you really do have to come up to it. She extracts details, montages them into still life compositions, and then embeds them into tiles, these gira tiles, which are inspired by Islamic architecture. It's fascinating. So gira means knot in Persian, and it's been popularized by a Harvard physics graduate student, Peter Liu, and he really describes a set of 5 tiles. The next slide, please. So we can see them here. They are a decagon, pentagon, kind of a bow tie, in layman's terms, an elongated hexagon, and a diamond. So these are really the foundation elements, along with triangles and zigzagging lines called strap work. For elaborate patterns that Lou and then Steinhardt, another professor at Princeton, found, and they actually found, it was fascinating, with Guru Netchapolu of Harvard, that these tiles appear on a 15th century timbered scroll in the Topkapı Palace Library in Istanbul. That documents architectural practices, and I'm just showing you, this is from a mosque in Turkey, but we see this all over Iran and Central Asia as well, how these foundation elements are used that can be to create patterns that can go on almost infinitely. So Chupa, what she's done is she's taken a look at this and she embeds these floral plant photographs into tiles, arranges them bilaterally into symmetrical compositions inspired by the tilings. Can you go back one, please? Back to her work. So close up, you can see the floral patterns, and then when you come back, they disappear into a more, which is consistent with the aesthetic of dematerialization in Islamic architecture. So each of the compositions employs a subdivision rule whereby the pattern laid out in a small gira is repeated on a larger scale. And so this is kind of on a two-level design, and it's a variation. Specifically, she was looking at the Darya Iman shrine that was built in 1451 in Isfahan in Iran. So the result of her work becomes this kaleidoscopic image which combines both geometric and plant forms. And I find it very exciting to see this oscillation between overall clarity and this minute textural detail. The next one, please. Keep going. All right. This is Ladan Ibrahimian's work that's in just down the hallway here on the wall, and hung at about eye level, which is perfect for viewing. She also combines geometry and floral motifs using the technique, a very traditional technique of reverse glass painting. This was very popular, especially for the Qajars in Iran in the 19th century. We see examples as early as under the Safavids in the 16th and 17th century, but it was really the Qajars in the 19th century that where we had a great vogue for reverse glass painting. So what we're doing is we're looking through the glass at a reversed image, and Ibrahimian makes it a unique form of contemporary art by adding a mirror background. She's trying to reflect, as she notes, the language of the universe and also the beauty of the world within us. So the use of the mirror in her work, which is entitled Purity Expo, is to reflect truth, to reflect clarity and beauty, as well as expressing the idea of the infinite nature of a spiritual realm. I think it's very successful. The next one, please. Great. So Islam Ali utilizes another historical technique, that of bookbinding. So reverse glass painting with bookbinding. And this is sequence 1, which is installed in a case in the first gallery. He's combining wooden boards, handmade flax paper, and linen thread. He went through a very thorough learning process, studying the history of binding, as well as the history of how a book is constructed in a specific sequence. He learned about the historical use of paper, about paper making, wood, leather, and dyes. Careful attention to the selection process and techniques. And so he has this wonderful combination of a very careful historical study, raw materials, but using contemporary techniques as well, such as laser cutting on a historical structure, which I think is fascinating. So beautiful writing, this is leading us into beautiful writing. The next slide, please. As you know, beautiful writing is calligraphy. Thank you. It's often considered the highest form of Islamic art historically, as it transmits the word of God in the Quran. So I just montaged some images that I teach from. We see the art of the word, the art of calligraphy in many different forms. Classically in a Quran manuscript, a calligraphic script. Central Asia, this is Samanid epigraphic ware that looks oddly contemporary as well, the great black script on the white bowl. And on the right here, this is from a Tiraz fragment. So this is actually woven textile. And then on the left, from a mosque in Turkey. So we see many different forms of the art of the word. The next slide, please. Great. So Helen Zugev's work is right as you enter the gallery in the foyer. And I'd like to highlight two more artists. Helen is one of them who really explore the art of the word in different ways. This is Circle Home, baked white. And the words start in the center. It's hard to see here. Please go stand in front of her work. The words start in the center and they circle around and around and over again, as if in meditation. It's almost a chant. It becomes an aspiration. She explains that the painting represents the forced departures of so many refugees. This is so poignant now, especially. Even though they're leaving, circles home. So in Arabic, as you know, the word bayt means home, but it means so much more than just your structure or shelter. It's a community as well. It's one's home and it's one's homeland, which adds complexity, I think, and nuance to the repetition of this single word in her painting. Helen herself was born in Beirut. She's lived in the Middle East and Europe before coming to the United States, and she feels very strongly that the arts are one of the most important ways to help really shape, foster, and move forward a dialogue and positive ideas about the Middle East, as everybody here does as well too. And her paintings are in many different publications, many different public collections, which helps as well. The next one, please. Another artist who utilizes the word to great effect is Shakil Akram Khan, who lives and based in Toronto. And he creates a modern Islamic geometric art based on tessellations of square Kufic calligraphy. This piece here is entitled Kalima, which means word in Arabic, and it's his first contact, he said, with Islamic art and architecture was as a high school student in an architectural drafting course. He was mesmerized with the complexity and the harmony of geometric shapes, especially the square Kufic. Here I look at it and it looks very familiar to me as an ancient motif that we would see pen on paper or an architectural facade as well from many centuries ago. His inclination for straight lines and simple shapes led him to admire the works of Saul LeWitt, Frank Stella, Piet Mondrian, and M.C. Escher, actually, who was inspired by the Alhambra. So he says his work is based on the universal attraction to geometric systems and the search for spiritual peace. There's an important spiritual aspect here. And he says, what I want to depict in my art is the omnipresence of God in the universe. One way to do this is to portray the artistry of God through the order, design, and harmony apparent in all things. God is beautiful, and he loves beauty. This saying derives from a well-known hadith, or saying of the Prophet Muhammad, as recorded in number 275 of the Sahih, the Accurate, of Muslim ibn Hajjaj, who died around 875. This is one of the collections of the 6 major hadith in Sunni Islam. So theologians understood beauty and love as manifestations of God's unity. And the next one, please. And another artist who focuses and is inspired by the long tradition of geometric Islamic art, of beauty, balance and harmony and unity is our esteemed director, the artistic director of this exhibition, Shafak Ahmad. She's also an internationally recognized artist with many exhibitions under her belt, the Florence Biennale, and she's going back to Sharjah as well, and I think she's probably rarely in Dallas. She was born in Rawalpindi, Pakistan, and lived in the United Kingdom, Iran, and Denmark before settling down here. Her transparent veils is prominently featured in this center, and it's wonderful that we can walk around at 360 degrees around it. She also believes in this all-encompassing unity of the Creator. And this unity really, it drives both the conceptual and formal aspects of her work. It's this process, artistic process of repetition, of layering, of adding, of subtracting, really the mark making. And it's hard to see that on the screen, but you must go up close to her work and see how she is really, she says, and I completely agree with her, that we're all threads of the same human fabric. This process of repetitive calligraphic text, whether we see it here with Shafak Ahmad's work, with Helen's work as well, circling around and around. It's applied in layers. It's deeply meditative. It's a contemplative process. It really shows our connectivity with the universal spirit of all living things, and this is a great connection. And the calligraphy that she's using are the 99 names of Allah, and it made me think of one example we have in our gallery, permanent gallery in Houston. We have a lovely Deccan wood roundel that I've hung high to show how it would have been shown. I'm sorry I didn't bring a slide of this, but it repeats as a kind of a meditative repetition two of the 99 names of Allah, intertwined and cut out in wood and intertwined in calligraphy. So the next one, please. And the last work I just wanted to show, I found fascinating, Yasamana Musavi's Untitled 2014. It's really a conversation between contemporary art and the past here. You've got a digital print, which is completely contemporary technique, but she's fascinated by much older architecture, and she's done this in two ways, in different layers. You've got the blue architectural facade that it's almost a jali type of screen here, a mashrabia, where you can kind of look through, but you can't see what's beyond. And then she's kind of disseminated this into a kaleidoscopic effect. And we see her eye behind there. We see parts of her body. We also see 17th century Safavid tiles, architectural tiles as well. And so there's this kind of dissolution of space, wondering where we are, and movement. She's also a performance artist. So I just wanted to end with this one, which I think is a wonderful, all the works are absolutely amazing here, but I thought this was especially fascinating, the use of both very contemporary techniques, concepts, and ideas with very traditional harmonic forms of architecture. And what I really enjoyed about this exhibition is the way that the real building blocks of traditional historical Islamic art and architecture, the geometric forms, the importance of the word, whether that be Arabic calligraphy or Persian calligraphy or any language, but the primal importance of the word, geometric forms, and floral forms. These have been used for centuries. This conversation is continuing, and it's continuing here today with modern contemporary concepts and ideas